Hey everybody, this is Jonathan Schrantz, and for a long time now, you guys have been requesting videos on the Evans Gambit. This seems to be one that you guys are really interested in, so I'm happy to finally sit down and make a video about it. And this is such a crazy, interesting opening. I feel like different openings need to be studied in different ways. Something like the Evans Gambit, where white here is giving up a b-pawn in order to try to get an initiative, to try to start something in the center and to develop a lot faster, while black still needs to figure out exactly how to castle. I feel like one of the important ways to do this is to actually see the initiative in action. So before we ever make a video, we could always make a video later on the actual theory of the Evans Gambit. So let me know in the comments below if that's something that you actually would be interested in, because I'd be happy to do that as well. But I feel like specifically for these openings where it's all about the initiative and it's all about how to open up files and open up diagonals for bishops as fast as you possibly can to generate an attack, what's really important to do is to actually see that in action, to see how you can punish mistakes by the opponent, and to just kind of get a feel for the Gambit. So I want to do that today by looking at somebody who has an absolutely incredible record with the Evans Gambit. Paul Morphy, the American hero of chess here. He did so many games. He has something in the database. I was looking through about 50 games of him playing the Evans Gambit, and it's just brutal stuff. It's just win after win after win after win. He just gets the initiative every single game, opens up the files, and just checkmates everybody the same exact way. So it's 100% worth taking a look at some of his games. So we're going to go over 3 times that he crushed people in 17 moves or less with the Evans Gambit. It's really fantastic stuff. So for those that don't know, in the Italian game, if they bring out that bishop to c5 right here, boom, you can hit him with the move pawn to b4. And the idea, of course, is that after they take, we're going to play c3. The bishop is going to need to move, and then we can play d4, white can castle, and just try to get the pieces out as fast as possible. Now, the main theoretical moves is actually bishop to a5, and the second most common is bishop to c5. In most of these games that we're going to look at today, bishop to c5 was the choice. This seems to be like the most logical, and you're just sticking on this diagonal. But it does have the one downside that when white ever plays d4, and most players actually will play d4 in this position, this was not Morphy's choice, but most people actually do this and then decide to castle here, and you can sacrifice another pawn, dare him to take on c3, which most players will not be willing to do. But that's why some people would prefer to go to a5. However, on a5, there's also the issue that then at some point you're probably going to need to go back to b6 with the bishop anyway, so they're very similar in nature. But now, Morphy decides to just castle, and after d6 plays the move pawn to d4. After one more capture, he takes back, and it's clear to see white is definitely a pawn down, but he does have the opportunity. Black is still a couple turns away, and the question is, how can white make the most of this? How can we get some sort of initiative or some sort of attack going while we have the opportunity? Well, Morphy just follows a very simple principle of developing the stuff and using this lead in development. And here already black begins to go wrong. Black plays what I think would be just the first move, if you've never seen this position, the most obvious move in the world, knight to f6. But this actually already lands black in a little bit of trouble, as we will soon see. A more common response is to actually do something like knight to a5, which is a very common idea in this position. And after the bishop goes back, you can put this knight on e7 is kind of a more typical idea. And the point is you're not running into e5, and maybe you'll even get to play the move pawn to d5 yourself. So this could have been sort of a more natural way if you actually know a little bit about modern theory in the Evans Gambit. However, knight to f6, exactly how are we going to punish it? Black is one move away from castling. Now's the time to strike. So Morphy hits him with the move, pawn to e5. Opening diagonals is going to be huge for us. And here, I think black actually makes the right decision of taking on e5. Although, before we actually get into this game, I do want to show you, there was also another game. It didn't make the list because it was just a little bit too long. But he also played a game against De Riviere, I believe, was the opponent. And I'll show you as much as I can remember of that game. But it was just another good idea, just another indication of how exactly you can play these things. What you want to do generally in these positions is you want to open it up. So this isn't the game against Hampton anymore. This is a totally different game that he played. But here, yeah, he was able to open up even more. And you can see, position like this, he's starting to get a major initiative. And I think white may already be actually winning here. After d5, it went queen to f6, and here is where it got really out of control and really amazing. Queen to f6, don't worry about that knight. Boom! Bishop to g5, that's what he played. He just sacked this knight to open this up, and it really does look very, very dangerous for the black king. I believe the game went queen to d3. After some captures here, he played yet another amazing move. He sacrificed a lot, so this game could have made the cut, but it was just a little bit too long. It was over 20 moves. Boom! Rook to e7 with the big idea that now there's going to be this fork in the position, so the king decided to run over here. The queen decided to just stay on the board. And what exactly happened here? It went rook to d1, always trying to gain time whenever you have the option of gaining time. And now this knight comes in. The knight is actually a very good defender. So, boop! Removing the defender. Black took back here, and now we can see after queen to b1, there's just way too big of an attack on this king. That's way too many pieces over there. The king has no chance. And in fact, I believe the game went queen to f5. He did capture this, and then he like ran away. And had a g4, something like this, and White was able to win this game. But that's just kind of a nice indication of exactly what can happen in a position like this. So if this is too slow, the idea is if we ever get to open up this position, something really good should happen for White. So back to our game here. This is a game against Hampton. In the game, d takes e5 is what was played on the board. And now do try to figure out exactly what you would play here. He plays an amazing move, an absolutely amazing move here. So do take the time if you want to try to figure out what White played here. And it's a very typical, well-known idea in the Evans Gambit. Whenever this d-pawn moves, one of the things that should be on our radar is this amazing move, bishop to a3. So not worried about material, not worried about anything opening up in the center. If the center opens up in any way, that is going to be absolutely fantastic for us. And yeah, he's just gambiting the whole center away and getting out. And now this bishop is an absolute monster. It's not going to be very easy for Black to ever get castled now or shut down this diagonal whatsoever. And if the E and D files are opening up, it's going to be game over for Black. And in the game, Black played bishop to g4. This isn't the best move, but I do actually want to take Morphy off the screen here for just a second so we can give you a little insight. There was this one really nice computer move. Let's see if we can recreate it. So the computer suggests that this is already over. After the bishop takes here, it goes queen to b3, queen d7. There's just this one line that I can't resist but showing you guys. Knight a5 seems like a totally reasonable idea in general. But now what about knight takes e5? This remarkable idea where after you take the queen, we're not taking back right away, but instead, boop! Knight takes f7, and look, the king has absolutely nowhere to go. The minor pieces here are just controlling all of the squares so well, and this is going to result in some sort of a material loss here for Black. I couldn't help but point that out. I thought that was a pretty cute and amazing line there, but it just goes to show just how powerful, excuse me, just how powerful this initiative can really get. So heading back one more time, it's basically game over, but bishop to g4 is what was played in the game. Now came queen to b3. Very natural. We'll see another one of the ideas. So part of Black's point was that now he's going to be playing bishop to h5 to defend the f7 pawn. But open it up. Just open the position every chance that you get. And also keep in mind that whenever you can develop a piece with tempo, just bring it in. Rook to d1, attack that queen, make her go to kind of a weird square, and now Black will never be able to castle this way. You're never going to be able to go that way as long as we have our rook on the d file, so it is looking grim. So what do? You open up the position. Pawn to e6. Black cannot afford to let it open up, so now he plays f6. And from here, there's only a couple more moves left in this game. He found just a really nice way to continue. How do you increase the advantage? How do you increase the attack? How do you put even more pressure on Black? Well, he found a really nice way, and this is very impressive. Even from this position, it looks very promising, but how exactly do you do it? Queen to b5. Not only attacking this bishop from a long ways away, but now setting up for the winning move, which is just the very strong bishop to d5. And here Black just had to resign because the threat of bishop takes c6 is just so absolutely crushing. And have a look around. There's really nothing Black can do about it. Just bishop takes c6 is coming next, and it's going to be lights out for Black. So I thought that was a really cool, fantastic game. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Open it up, develop with tempo, and destroy your opponents. And we move on to game number 2. This is the game Paul Morphy versus Alonso Morphy. This is actually his father. I can really quick show you this. I don't think you guys can actually see the full page or anything. But Alonso Morphy He was the Attorney General in Louisiana, and it was his home was an atmosphere of genteel civility and culture, where chess and music were typical highlights of a Sunday home gathering. His son, Paul Morphy, was super good at this game that we call chess. So that's just a little backstory. This is some Morphy on Morphy action here. And once again, we see the Evans Gambit. And after c3, bishop to c5 was also the choice in this game. d4, we get a very, very similar position. Now, most players with the white pieces here in this exact position after this recapture will castle right away. And the reason is, now black actually does have this additional option of bishop to b4 check, which wasn't played in the game. But bishop to b4 check might mean that either white will play like king to f1 or something. But if you have to block with a piece, trading pieces will be pretty decent for black. But, okay, bishop goes back to b6 and now castles. Now we see this move, knight to a5. And yeah, this is probably okay. You maybe can get away with this, but the way black followed it up doesn't really work out. So the bishop just goes back, and now black tries to sneak in this move, pawn to d5. And these are all kind of typical ideas, but probably black would have been better advised to develop a piece. And probably the knight should go to e7, not to f6, because again, on f6, it might get hit with e5 at some point. But pawn to d5. And I ask you here, I'm not on Twitch right now, so I don't have a chat. I can't really ask you, but I do ask you anyway. How would you handle this? What would you do here if you were white? You can pause. You can talk to me in the comments, but that's not really going to do any good. What would you do here? Let me know somehow, some way. Open it up. So here he finds a really strong continuation, just opening up the position. And after the queen took back, again, we want to have a look around. There's a lot of very tempting moves. I think, I mean, rook e1 looks very tempting. Knight to c3 looks very tempting. But he just went for this simple idea, yet again, whenever that d pawn is out of the way, of just playing bishop to a3 and just saying, how are you ever going to castle? And we're not worried. Black will do something. You get one move. You pick how you want to develop. And we still have rook e1, knight c3. We got these attacking ideas in the position. This is going to be incredibly easy for white to play. So I think black is already in grave danger here. Tries to play bishop to e6. And now comes knight to c3, attacking the queen, driving her away. And yet again, what exactly would you do here as white in this game? I mean, a lot of tempting moves again, maybe rook e1. No, he just wants to try to clear files, try to open everything up, just get rid of those center pawns. If the center pawns come off, it's actually going to be very, very good for white. Not much black can do, so black did end up taking, but after knight takes, queen takes, the final move of the game was rook to e1. And it just looks so simple. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to just win with the Evans Gambit if you're Paul Morphy. But yeah, here, the reason that black had to resign, now that all the files, all the diagonals are open, it's either going to be checkmate or you lose your queen, but maybe both. Here, something like, if you run away, you're not going to be able to really block without losing a lot of material. Something like bishop to e4 is going to be very strong for white. One idea being that you're going to lose some material here, and if you go like this, it looks like one of these rooks, you pick which one you want, is going to be a checkmate. So this was the final move of the game. Paul Morphy taking down his dad. And yeah, just another awesome example of taking over the center and then just opening up these files, play bishop a3, and just checkmate your opponent here. So let's get one more game in. This is Paul Morphy versus Jean-Adolphe Leroux. And this game was yet another Evans Gambit. And after c3, this time we will look at what is now at least the main line, which is bishop to a5. And here he plays d4. I couldn't remember if he played d4 or if he just castled, but this time he actually did. And now knight to f6 comes, and this again is probably a big mistake. It's just so easy to fall into. That's just the natural square for the knight. So many players are going to be playing knight to f6 whenever you play the Evans Gambit. But yeah, I mean, there's two main options. You can play d6 with some ideas of putting the guy back and trying to meet any queen to b3 with knight to a5. That's one of the normal ideas in this opening. And the most common idea is after this capture to actually put this knight yet again on the e7 square, where you might be able to play d5 and your knight's not going to get attacked by the move e5. But in our game, knight to f6, yet again, I mean, this is always supernatural. What are we going to do here as white? Well, of course, he decides to open the position. So he decides, yeah, let's just open the d file a little bit. And after knight to g4, he finds yet another move. So maybe we're not going to be able to protect our e-pawn right away. So just develop your pieces and try to cause some sort of action. And here already black is in some trouble. I mean, it's really not easy. f6 played, takes knight f6. And now how shall we continue? Obviously, it's very tempting to just castle or something like that. E5. E5. So exploiting this pin here, black really is going to struggle to get out of this pin. It's really not going to be easy. So somehow, some way, this position is just about to explode and open up. H6 was tried, and obviously maybe we could move our bishop. But no, he just decides, let's open the game. This is the strategy over and over. We see what you want to do is you want to open the position. And after the bishop was recaptured, you have to find a very accurate move here, which Morphy was able to find. Only one move wins here. So go ahead and see if you can win this game. I think there's a lot of tempting options. You know, you can take, you can push, you can check. Queen can come all the way up. You can just castle. There's probably a lot of very tempting options for white. But the move that wins is f takes g7. And if you look at this rook, it's actually remarkable. It doesn't have any squares. So the rook is actually trapped on the back rank. So after queen to e7, queen e2. And black had to resign because the queens can come off or stay on right now. Doesn't really matter. The problem for black is this rook doesn't have anywhere to go. So you're going to lose a rook, or white's going to make a queen, or something bad here is going to happen. So that just can happen. That's the Evans Gambit. That's the way she goes. That is kind of the dream situation here for white. So hopefully this did give you kind of an idea of how to get the initiative, how to get the attack. Just open up the files, develop with tempo, and crush all of your opponents. The Evans Gambit is very, very, very dangerous. So let me know what you guys think of it in the comments below. I'd really be happy to hear what you guys think of it, and you know, what else you guys want to see here on the channel. I'm always happy to do whatever. So let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time for another video.